Well, we've talked about Grubering and making that a verb and the sort of process that this is not an isolated incident about lying to get an agenda furthered. We've talked about how this is systemic. Well, Victor Davis Hanson has completely outlined this in a piece called Lying for the Cause. And this was fascinating to me because we've talked about this sort of thing over and over again about liberal tactics. But here is the actual, like almost a complete laundry list of different scandals that we've seen before. He goes into things like Rigoberta Menchu's made-up memoir, Tawana Brawley, where we first met, the Reverend Al Sharpton, Tawana Brawley's supposed rape, to OJ and that story around him, Dan Rather, the fake but accurate National Guard memo, the Duke lacrosse team, Barack Obama's autobiographic interludes with his composite girlfriends, on and on. Lena Dunham and her rape story that we're not even, able to verify that, and she's throwing that out there. This UVA case, this sort of business up there, the hands up, don't shoot business. He goes on and on about all this. And then he talks about why it's done, and he gives 4 reasons that I thought were just really good that I think people should think about. Psychodrama was the first one. There's less of a tragedy sort of environment that we find ourselves in. These are not Dickensian times anymore, where you have people in such abject poverty that it's everywhere. It's not like that in America, and so there's quite a bit less of attention paid to those things. And so by lying about a particular story, you can call attention to it and build that, I guess that ire, that sort of thing that Dickens actually did stir up about real cases in his fictional accounts. But these are not masquerading. These are fictional accounts masquerading as the truth. A second reason, he says, painless mendacity. And this is an important one because who pays the price when Lena Dunham lies about or makes up a story maybe about whether she was raped or not at college? Who's going to pay the price for that? And then when you look at Al Sharpton, Tawana Brawley, did he pay a price for that? You look at all these cases, the people who lie have no downside to doing so. So it's fine for them in their minds to go ahead and
they actually have quite upside. They have quite an upside in lying, and you're right, it is painless.
Absolutely. The third reason is whose truth? Because we're getting everyone into that objectivist thinking and or nothing is subjective thinking, nothing is an objective truth, then it doesn't matter because that lie doesn't really count because it's true somewhere. And so this is where these things that are lies are standing for a truth somewhere that we know, but we can't maybe find a case or a proof of it. So we'll make one up, and therefore this is like the false racism accusations, the hate crimes on particular campuses, things that are ginned up like that. It's because it is true, we just can't prove it's true, so we're going to make one up to prove the truth of the thing we know is true.
It's true somewhere, so this fake story is going to represent that it's true somewhere, and it's not falsifiable because if the only truth in my story is that it's true for someone, and this is speaking to a larger truth, there's no way that you can use any kind of evidence to discredit me. It's absolutely the opposite of science and logic.
Yes. And in the quote that Victor Davis Hanson says that I just thought was amazing, truth is what is deemed socially useful. And you put that in context with all the things, all the issues we'll be talking about today. That is powerful. The fourth reason he gives is useful distraction. So, and this we've seen over and over, we just probably haven't recognized it as such. If you have people in the streets over an issue on this side, it's very likely that there's a larger problem over here that's related, but that nobody wants to talk about. And therefore, this is the place they're going to put their effort, because that is what's simple for people to exploit and use for their purposes, whereas the other issue, which is related, might have more complex causes, more deep consideration to be dealt with. If you're talking, say, the breakdown of the family in minority communities versus what white cop, black man interaction would be, there are two separate issues. They're somewhat related, but all the energy is going toward the one that has the more rare occurrence, because the difficult conversation is on the other side. I just thought that was a fascinating analysis of why liberal and progressive people that try to push these narratives do so with lies.
Decriminalizing things is really no solution. Take the law off the books. Make these things legal activities. Make it legal to sell single cigarettes so that he can just be an entrepreneur rather than an entrepreneur lawbreaker.